Hello, fourth graders. Welcome to Math Lesson 2.8, Comparing Methods of One-Digit Multiplication. I just want to mention, if you have your math packet with you, that we have skipped class activity 2-7. So we are moving on to 2-8. So just make sure you're on the correct page. And our goals for today are to compare two different methods for multiplication that we've already learned. And we're just going to do some practice. So our vocabulary today, we are talking about the place value sections method and the expanded notation method. I know it's been a few days over the break that we've had a break, and so we're going to come back and look at the place value sections model first. And our equation that we're looking at today is 9 times 28. That's the expression that we have, and we're going to solve it using the place value sections model. So we have our rectangle. We have 28 and 9. Remember, we put 9 on both sides just to help us with both rectangles. And 28 is split into 20 for the 10s and 8 for the 1s. And we solve each rectangle. 9 times 20. Remember, 9 times 8 in the 1s rectangle. And we can solve 9 times 20 because we know 9 times 2 is 18. And so remember, when we are multiplying by a two-digit number, we're multiplying really by 2 10s. So we are just going to add that 0 to the 18. So 9 times 20 is 180. 9 times 8 is 72. And for this method, we are going to add the numbers and the rectangles together. 180 plus 72 gives us an answer of 252. So there is a quick review of the place value sections model. Remember? The other model that Mrs. Williams taught us last week was the expanded notation model. So let's use the same problem, 9 times 28. And we can also use the rectangle to help us with 28 split into 20 plus 8, the 10s and the 1s, and we have our 9 on the side, so we're multiplying 9 times 20 and 9 times 8. The expanded notation model is written like this, 28 times 9. And really what we do is take those numbers and write them in expanded form. So 28 equals 20 plus 8. And 9 is just a one-digit number, so it just is 9 when we write it in expanded form. Okay, so now when we come to do the next part, we are going to multiply the 9 times the 20. So we're going to write 9 times 20 equals 180. So we're writing what would be in this rectangle, we're just writing underneath the line. The next step is to multiply the 8 and the 9, or 9 times 8. And the answer is 72. So we're using our expanded form here, 9 times 20, and then 9 times 8. And we're putting our equations down here. And now we are going to solve by adding the 180 and the 72, and we get 252. Now, if we compare the two models, we did the same problem, 9 times 28, and we came to the same answer, that it's 252. You can see here with the place value sections model, we drew it out. We have the equations inside the rectangles, and then we've added 180 plus 72 equals 252. For the expanded notation model, it's written slightly differently. We've written 28 times 9, used the expanded form, and then we have multiplied 9 times 20 equals 180. 9 times 8 equals 72, and then we have added those two products together for 252. So let's think about both of these models. What two values are added together to give the answer in both methods? Okay, in both methods, we are still adding the product of 9 times 20 and 9 times 8. So in both, we are adding 180 and 72 in both models. Okay. So what is different about the two methods? You might have all come up with a different way to explain this. And that's okay, because you can use your own words and your own way of thinking to explain the difference. The way that I'm going to explain it is just that the way that we do it, or the way that we write out the steps for solving the problem, is different. So the way the steps are written is different. Here we have just an addition problem, and we have drawn it out with the equations in the rectangles. For expanded notation, we've written the equation with expanded form, and then we have just written the equations underneath to solve. So we've just written things differently. So today, when you do your work, remember you are looking for activity pages 2-8. When you do your work, you are going to be comparing the place value sections method and the expanded notation method. Now, we missed lesson 7, which taught a different method called the algebraic notation method. You do not have to worry about that method. I've put the yellow X here to remind you, don't worry about that. And on the second page, you don't have to do the algebraic notation questions. Just do expanded notation and look at the place value sections method. So on page 57, the first page here, you are comparing in these two methods what values are added together. So just look at the two methods we've studied, the place value sections method and the expanded notation method. And then what's different about those methods? On the second page, this is your practice. Use expanded notation to solve 4 times 86 and 4 times 68. So that's a good review practice for you. And then questions 5 through 10, you can solve either using place value sections method or expanded notation method. Choose the one that works best for you. And you have these questions to solve. And then you can also draw the related area model. You'll have to fit the little rectangle in there too.